Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. Of course, I'm your host Clay, and with me, like every single week, of course, is Katie. Katie, how you doing today?
I got Botox. I got a nerve block. I have whiskey. It's all good.
Better than last time, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's the most important thing.
Still got
Uh,
a little bit of a migraine, but hopefully we'll wake up tomorrow all better. So,
Now, guys, we have a lot to talk about today, but most importantly, our main topic is, of course, Revenge of the Sith, the novelization. Now, I have been teasing that I have had a hot take on the novelization. I want to go ahead and state it now. I'm not I'm not going to completely roll back on it, but I think it's important to have a separate conversation, kind of in this episode as well. I'm going to ask this question again when we actually talk about it, but I want you to simmer on this question while we go over these news topics, okay, Katie?
okay.
I need your opinion on what you believe a novelization should be, okay? I need that clarification because I might have the wrong idea of what a novelization should be. So, that's probably why my hot take is so hot as it is. But we will get there eventually. First, we're gonna, of course, we're gonna be talking about some casting news, new rumors towards that casting, of course. We're gonna be talking about Visions season 3 trailer, as well as what was our last topic? I knew there was one more. It was the
The
look.
present we got? Question mark.
Yes, we're gonna show it now. Yes, we do, guys. Have in fact in front of us the deluxe edition of Revenge of the Sith novelization. Now,
It comes with this nice handy dandy slip with all your information on it, so you can just take this off, trash it, which is what I'm going to do.
no, it's so scary.
Because now the dust jacket is just
It's
like
beautiful.
perfection.
I absolutely love this. Out of all the gifts that we have received from Star Wars, and even the special editions that we've gone out of our own way to purchase, I think this one actually takes the cake.
It really
I think,
does, because the dust jacket is just perfect. It has the lovely intro crawl thing that Matthew Stover did. But then you take the dust jacket off, and then you get to see the the hard, what is it called? The hard jacket? I don't
the
know.
hardcover itself is, of course, just Mustafar with Anakin and Obi-Wan. It is a wraparound, so it continues the actual photo of the whole thing.
Yep.
But one thing, I saw this on TikTok, and I haven't opened this yet. I've had it, a little bit of behind the scenes here. I've had it for a little bit longer than Katie has, just because of our locations and how they mailed it. So inside the very first page is a concept art of Anakin Skywalker and Padme.
Yep.
Absolutely gorgeous. But the next page, or the inside, which I think is actually really cool,
Yes, I
is
love this.
the title card Star Wars, and it's Padme and Anakin on the inside. I think this is gorgeous. I love
It's
this.
so cool. And obviously, guys, all of the deluxe editions nowadays are coming with sprayed edges. This has gorgeous red edges with "This is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker" forever on it. My aunt was so jealous of me getting this book, by the way, because she has made an effort to like have a shelf of red books, and she loves the way this
And
looks.
then there
But in the
is,
back,
yeah, I was gonna say there is the concept art in the back to complete the story. Is, of course, the birth of Darth Vader as we know and love him, of course.
yes. And guys, the book does come with a bookmark, which I will be using as we go through this. I have not opened it other than the artwork sections because I wanted to come into this novelization review clean and
Yes.
not have any of the annotations in my head.
Same, and that's exactly why I haven't opened it as well. Full disclosure on the review that we are going to do, I actually listened to the audiobook for this. I have now listened to it twice because I wanted to know if my hot take was just something that I was kind of just like meh about. So I listened to it all over again in the last 2 days, which is a very doable thing at two times speed. By the way,
it's 21 chapters, 3 parts, so very easy to break it down and get it listened to. I did it twice as well, but I've read this like myself previously, so
yeah. I will be listening to it probably at a normal speed now, while looking over the annotations.
that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
But like pair reading it basically.
yeah. I think that would be fun. Also, I don't think they would do it, but I would pay money for like a director's cut audiobook with the annotations literally be the only thing that is the audio portion of this.
So they did that for the Heir to the Empire 20th anniversary.
Really?
Yeah, with Timothy Zahn and Elizabeth, the editor.
Oh, so it could be a possibility. It could. You know what? Now that you said it, I'm probably gonna message Tom today. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna message Tom and say, "Hey, I know you can't actually tell me, but blink twice
Tell me
if this is a possibility." All right.
I was gonna try and pull it up because I thought I had it on my Audible, but my Audible has apparently kicked me out of my account on my laptop, so I have to figure that out.
Oh no. Okay, so with that being said, really cool that we got that. I want to thank Random House Worlds for giving us the opportunity to get this early edition. I have been seeing on Twitter as well as TikTok. There's a lot of people who are also getting these at the exact same time, and I really do hope that more people jump in on this because it is a gorgeous edition. I think this is a really cool thing for them to do, and I cannot wait to read those annotations.
Yep, and guys, we will be talking about the annotations in 2 weeks, which is after this book releases. This book releases on the 14th of October, so we will be talking about it live on the 15th, on podcast feeds on the 16th. So we're not going to go annotation by annotation, but we're going to talk highlights, some things that we found interesting, and just kind of dig into it there. So you can expect to get that review as well from us, guys.
Oh, and I just remembered what the last bit of news was, the James Mangold news.
Oh, yes. That rumor. Well, news.
Yes, it is not news. A rumor. It is not a rumor. It is for sure happening. There is a Deadline article over this. Let's go ahead and jump into that now because it is small. And the discussion, I think, is a little bit smaller. But it says here that Paramount signs filmmaker James Mangold to overall deal. A lot of people, of course, immediately jumping to what's going to happen to Star Wars and Swamp Thing. And of course, both of those outlets have said, "Oh, it's still happening. It's still happening." But Katie, it something seems very familiar about this, don't you think?
Yeah, because we've talked about it, and we talked about how James Mangold was probably the most likely to happen, because after his movie with Timothy Chalamet, whatever that musical adaptation was this past year, he didn't have anything else on his plate. So we were like, okay, fully capable of jumping straight into Star Wars from here. Of course, we have seen no progress But also, maybe Lucasfilm doesn't want to have more than one movie in production at a time. And with Starfighter shooting ahead, maybe they're like, okay, like, James Mangold's will be next, kind of thing. I don't know. I would like to have faith because I believe Mangold is an incredible director.
Yes.
And I would love to see him come to Star Wars. I feel like he would not have accepted the movie role if he didn't have a good experience with Lucasfilm on Indiana Jones. If he hadn't had a good experience with Indiana Jones, he wouldn't have come back. So I think he has a reason to be here. I don't know now. But we have also seen with, like, what's his name? The director for Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, where he signed a picture, like he signed a similar deal with Warner Brothers and has not produced anything for Warner Brothers.
J.J. Abrams, yeah.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams. So, I fully feel like this kind of thing happens all the time where these deals are for original pictures and not IP-based pictures or brand new IPs. So, I have hope, but I have realistic expectations now.
Yeah, same for me. I really want it to happen, but I will not be surprised if, I would say, anywhere between now and Christmas, we get some sort of officially non-official statement saying that he is no longer going to be making a Star Wars film.
See, but we never got an official notice on Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. It was just like... So I don't think we're going to have that notification. We're just going to be like, yeah, this is still in the works. Like Rian Johnson's movie.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, if it wasn't Star Wars, we wouldn't be getting talked up about this. Because only IPs really go, yeah, we have these movies in production. If you have an original motion picture, they're not going to tell you that the original motion picture is in development until it's ready to shoot, basically. Yeah. So.
Very, very true. Very true. But staying in the realm of movies, I think our next bit of news... I'm going to go ahead and give you a round of applause, Katie. You guessed it correctly so far.
Thank you.
Of course,
Thank you.
This is a rumor, but looking at the casting for Starfighter, we were so confused as of why Amy Adams would jump onto this type of movie. And, of course, Katie was like, oh, she's probably the mother to our main character. And according to, I believe it was RPK, Amy Adams is playing the mother of our main character.
And a lot of people have jumped on an obvious rumor with with Amy Adams being red hair, that she's playing Mara Jade. Now, if you guys know me, I have Mara Jade's lightsaber in the backdrop of my... I'm still working on it, but anyways. I'm a big Mara Jade person. Realistically, could this happen? Yes. To Travis Snell's point, Mark Hamill is technically 70 years old when he shot The Last Jedi, the sequel trilogy. He's 70 years old, give or take. Amy Adams, 51. So is it wise to producers to go, yeah, we're going to make this Luke Skywalker's child? I don't think it's Luke Skywalker's child, but going ahead and talking about that before we get into the other part of this, if it were to be Luke Skywalker's child, it still does make sense. Because Luke is technically like 50 at the point of the sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. We have seen that the characters in Star Wars basically just age really badly. Um, that's all there is to it. Basically, is we're faking their age at this point to where yes, they're technically 50 canonically, but realistically they're more like 70. So, would it look good in that regard to do it? No, but it still does make sense where if this was Luke Skywalker's child, it does make sense. And I looked this up, but I'm going to have to look it up again. So, The Rise of Kylo Ren, which is the mini-series by Charles Soule, which
that we're actually going to be reviewing next week, guys.
Are we reviewing that? I thought we were reviewing the Legend of Darth Vader, or the Legend of Darth Vader.
Oh, you know what? Got those two mixed up. Sorry, you're right. Nope, sorry.
I think
Same
we had
character.
We had
planned for it.
Kylo Ren and didn't have time.
Yeah.
So, guys, the Rise of Kylo Ren takes place in 28 ABY. The Force Awakens and The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi take place in 34 ABY. And I'm doing math here, guys, so I hope you follow me, kind of thing. So that's 6 years after the Rise of Kylo Ren. Rise of Kylo Ren, he fell to the dark side, started working with Snoke and all those things. So Kylo Ren had been with 6 years. So Luke had only been in exile for, at max, 6 years at that point. I know it doesn't seem like that based on the movie, but the wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, and all of the timeline does matter.
Yes.
To some extent. So, The Rise of Skywalker is a year after The Last Jedi, so that would be 35 ABY. Starfighter is 5 years later.
Yes.
So, in the Legends of Luke Skywalker, and I'm pulling out more hidden things here that's probably not going to get followed anyways, but the Legends of Luke Skywalker, some of those stories could take place while he's traveling to go to exile. Because if you think about it, so 16 years. So 11 years before Starfighter is when the Rise of Kylo Ren happened. So
okay, so hold on. You said The Legends of Luke Skywalker. This is the first that I'm hearing about this, so I just typed it in. There's a Journey to Star Wars, The Last Jedi, The Legends of Luke Skywalker. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Continue.
Nobody really knows when those stories take place. So they could take place before he does his Jedi Temple, but they also could take place when he goes to exile, because nobody actually knows if those are Luke Skywalker. It's assumed. It's not known. But irregardless of that fact, Rise of Kylo Ren takes place 11 years, or 12 years, technically, because it's 28 ABY. Starfighter takes place in 40 ABY.
Mm-hmm.
The main character, kid, played by Flynn Gray, I think is the actor's name, is going to be 14 years old. That still leaves 2 years for Luke to not be in exile, for him to have a one-night stand fling or something.
And I said it on the group chat. Just because you're in exile does not mean you can't call for a booty call. Okay? Leave. Hey, I'm not going to yuck anybody else's yum. Luke Skywalker was lonely. Who knows?
And especially if Amy Adams' character is actually a Jedi, what if she came and was like, I'm going to help teach at the Jedi Academy, and then ran off, got pregnant?
Boom.
That totally happens. We saw it in Andor Season 2.
That would make even more sense, because it would follow a quote-unquote downward spiral that Luke believes he is on, and so would push him to exile even more. This makes total sense.
Boom. That is why the timeline is so important, guys. Now, again, I do believe that there are certain events that people want to keep in the timeline. and want to make the timeline flow from that. What is my argument point here about the rise of Kylo Ren being important to this part of the story is that Charles Soule is now a consulting member of the story group for TV and film. He's been to the Acolyte premiere. I believe he went to the Andor premiere. I don't know that 100% sure, but he's consulting on these things. I feel like that move says, hey, you have written one of the most important characters in the sequel trilogy. Let's consult the guy who knows the inner workings if you want to make this happen. So, I feel like that's legit. Do I think that Amy Adams is Mara Jade? I mean, the resemblance there is pretty canny. If we're
I don't know. I don't know. You see this? This is wild. This is somebody that I randomly saw on Twitter saying that it would have been so much cooler if Amy Adams was able to play Mara Jade back in the early 2000s. And this photo was this photo right here was actually cut off like right at the chin, so I couldn't see her face. And then when I clicked at it, I was like, oh wow, like this is actually really freaking close.
So we're about to get into that, if I'm being honest. The picture of her holding Ben.
Yes.
Not about to. I think that's like 4 stories actually down the line. But
yeah.
Anyways, I do think the resemblance is uncanny. But I think Mara Jade is still such a character that Lucasfilm may not want to bring her in. But if you thought that that was the case, I bring you Exhibit A. Why did you put her character into the Disney Parks lightsaber collection limited?
Exactly. No, that is something that is absolutely true. Disney and Lucasfilm are both very particular about how they present their products. Especially, like, look at Star Wars. Star Wars is so reactionary on what they actually put out there, right? So for them to put out there... Now, I want to also rein in both me and Katie on this and have realistic expectations. There is more of a, like, 95-5 over-under on her not being Mara Jade. Like, this is totally something that is probably 100% true of her not being Mara Jade.
You don't have
Let's
to
be real.
I know she's not Mara Jade. Like,
let's just...
like,
but the surprise would be absolutely wild. And I think I would actually be genuinely, like, surprised if while I'm watching this movie with a theater full of strangers and she presents her name as Mara and I not freak out. I actually want to see this movie with Katie. Like, just in case there's a possibility of her being Mara Jade, just to see the freak out.
I would 100% lose my shit. I would. Matt has had to be like, shut up previously because I'm like a talker. I am a reactionary talker. That's why podcasting has been so good for me. Is because I just talk. And so I'm like in Mission Impossible, I think this was 7 because we watched 8 separately. But it was like, holy shit, did that just happen? Did that just happen? He was like, shut up! Like, stop talking! And so you announce her as Mara Jade. I mean, imagine how much I lost my shit with Mara being mentioned in Pieces of the Past.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, so overall, I think that this is fun for the fandom to brainstorm on how this could be a possibility. So I think this is all good. Now, there are several articles out there that are saying, like, oh, this would be cool, but let's be realistic. And then, like, saying, is it really possible for her to be Mara Jade? And then, like, throwing some facts down about the timeline. So there's arguments for it and there's arguments against it. I think that the conversation overall should pique Disney and Lucasfilm's like idea of what we the fans want in Star Wars, by the way.
I mean, Sean Levy is a fan, and so he could, and he is more involved on social media. We talked about this when he dropped the preview image with Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray. Like, he's more involved on social media. He's not James Gunn, but he is involved in Star Wars, in social media. So he could potentially be listening, but he could also be like, hey, I'm not listening because my script is already done. But he could have listened previously. So
yeah, 100%. Also, I just want to go ahead and lay this here so that way in the future, maybe not 2025, because, by the way, guys, we do have the rest of 2025 planned out, but maybe in 2026, I would like to have a conversation with you here on the podcast on the possibility of treating Legends like DC treats Elseworld stories.
Yeah.
I want to have that conversation eventually. But is there anything else that you want to add with this Amy Adams, Mara Jade casting rumor possibility?
I don't think so. I guess my last thing would be, I hope that if she is a former Jedi, Padawan, youngling, that I would hope that we would see a not Coruscant Order 66, if we are going to see Order 66 at all.
And that was another thing about this conversation. Because I think it was Travis that brought up, like, oh, well, if she's a Jedi, that actually makes no sense whatsoever. How is that possible? And I said, oh, she would just join the club. And I just sent a whole bunch of pictures of every Order 66 survivor. And he just responded hilariously. And we need to, again, remind people this was a galaxy of trillions of individuals and planets. The Order was thousands of people, if not millions. We only saw a fraction of that on screen and read that in books.
Yep.
So, just throwing that out there to remind you, survivors could be actually, in a good chunk. So, I think it's very much a possibility that she is an Order 66 survivor.
It really doesn't make a difference to me. I just feel like Coruscanti Order 66 has been showcased so much. I would like to see another Kanan survive.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool if, like, we saw her with, like, a squad of clones and then just completely on some random planet and then she escaped them. I think that would be absolutely really cool. But also, it is not out of the possibility of ranges that she could be a Force user that taught herself and was able to construct a lightsaber. Maybe in order to tie itself somewhat to the timeline, you can say, hey, I was being taught by Luke Skywalker for some time, but he didn't see that I was a fit student, so I walked away. Boom.
Yep.
Throwaway line, and then...
Because what Luke is doing in The Rise of Kylo Ren, he calls it the Jedi Order, the reestablishment of the Jedi Order. So, former Jedi still works in that case as well. You're right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. So, we will see. We still have... when is... there's no... Have they put a year on this yet?
I believe it's May 2027.
May 27th.
Sorry, guys. I hit my microphone. So we would see a lot of publicity at Star Wars Celebration 2027. So.
Yep. Very true. All right. Well, that leaves us, of course, with our last news topic, which is, of course, Star Wars Visions Volume 3 trailer release. This released 5 days ago on what is five
I
days
thought it
ago?
was last Thursday.
It might have been Thursday actually. All I remember is it was really late at night. It may have been actually like pretty close to midnight for some reason. I don't know where it was debuting.
I feel like because this is Japanese visions, like they may have released
Oh, on their
at
time zone. Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Because I feel like you sent this in the chat at like 8:55. So that you're shooting like right 9 a.m. Japanese time, I feel like. So
Yeah, I think somewhere around there. Um, but yeah, this trailer, guys, it is absolutely gorgeous. It gives a highlight of, I think, at least every episode.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like the duel is the biggest focus.
I think it is as well. I think you see at least 2 or 3, if not 4, clips from that. But it looks awesome.
It really
Um, we
does.
we see a Wookiee in there. Of course, we do get the highlights from all of the quote unquote sequel stories. Ninth Jedi. We see also the Village Bride continuation as well. There is one animation that I cannot just like stop googly lying all over. It is wow. I think there's actually 5 different clips from the duel. Actually, there is one clip with or one story with this girl who has a green lightsaber,
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
just looks absolutely awesome. It's very 3D. It is actually the thumbnail of the actual video with the individual with 2 lightsabers, 2 red lightsabers, and hers is green.
Okay.
Beautiful colors. The reds, the orange, like the peaches, like the peach color in the sky. But the 3D animation or CGI animation looks absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah.
But this looks great.
I there's not yeah, the visuals in this, the different animations, I feel like this trailer was really well put together just to kind of get your vibes going for the trailer basically. Um Otherwise, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the trailer in particular because obviously we're not getting like story types and everything. I think that does come in the cast announcement that's on StarWars.com because we have titles, we have synopsises, directors, and cast members all on StarWars.com.
That is true. I totally forgot to bring that up because one thing that I did not actually look into, but I did see from somebody in or on Twitter, Jodie Turner-Smith, of course, from the Acolyte, is playing a role in this volume of Visions.
Yeah, she is in Wit Studios' The Bounty Hunters. And the synopsis for that is a rogue bounty hunter takes on a job for a shady industrialist that has unexpected consequences for her and her droid. So that's the one Jodie Turner-Smith is in. In order, we have Kamikaze Duga plus Anima with the dual Payback. And it says, with the help of some unexpected allies, Ronan faces off against his greatest foe, a twisted Jedi known as the Grand Master who is bent on revenge. I don't recognize anybody in the cast. We're not going to go too in-depth with the cast, guys, because there's a lot. But StarWars.com, this is one of the main featured links, and I'm sure Clay will link it down in the description box below for you guys to go click through and see. Project Studio Q has the Song of Four Wings. And it says, a princess turned rebel protects a child from the might of the Empire on a snowbound planet. And the person of note, I feel like, in this is Stephanie Shu, who was in, oh gosh, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
The next one is also another sequel. So that is from Production IG, The Ninth Jedi, Child of Hope. And it says, pursued by Jedi hunters and blasted adrift into space, Kara encounters a seemingly abandoned ship tended to by a mysterious droid. And Simu Liu is in this one.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to go to the next one?
Yes. We talked briefly about it. Of course, it's the WIT studio, the bounty hunters. A rogue bounty hunter takes on a job for a shady industrialist and has unexpected consequences for her and her droid. Director is Junichi Yamamoto. The English voice cast, of course, is Earl Balin, Anna Swai, Ronnie Shang, Joseph Lee, and Jodie Turner-Smith. I want to go ahead and also reiterate, we haven't said this before. I don't want to be disrespectful in saying the names wrong. That's why I'm not going to be saying all of the Japanese voice actors, and I do apologize. But
yeah, I wasn't even gonna try. That's why I hadn't said anybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't want it to like come around and be like, why'd you only say the English voice actors? But the next episode title here is from Kinema Citrus Company, Yuko's Treasure. The synopsis is: a sheltered orphan teams with a street rat kid to rescue his droid caregiver and find a long-lost treasure. The director is Masaki Tachibana. English cast is Liam Carlson, Julian Paz Fedorov, I think is how you maybe pronounce it.
This is why I wasn't trying.
But also, like, I don't see any big names on this one. So I do like how it's kind of a mixture. There's going to be names that you actually know, whereas there might be just some really strong known voice actors and actresses that are just attached to these projects. And I really like that. The Kinema Citrus Company is also doing an episode called The Lost Ones. With the synopsis being: after assisting refugees escape a natural disaster, an incognito F is forced to... Well, what were you saying?
To confront... So this one is the other sequel. This is the sequel to The Village Bride.
Oh, The Village Bride. Okay. Is forced to confront the ghost of her past when their refugee ship is intercepted by the Empire. I also don't recognize any...
Oh, come on. You gotta at least recognize Mark Strong.
Oh, yes. Of course. Yeah. Oh, and Ryan Potter. If you, of course, have seen Titans, he was Beast Boy. So,
yep.
There's that as well.
Karen Fukuhara from The Boys is also...
yes, that is very true.
Next one is Trigger with the Smuggler. Desperate for a quick payday, a smuggler takes the job to rescue a fugitive from the Empire. You have the director is Masahiko Atsuka. I don't recognize anybody in this list. Just for continuity's sake, The Dual Payback is directed by Takanobu Mizuno, and The Song of Four Wings is directed by Hiroyasu Kobayashi. And The Ninth Jedi, Child of Hope is directed by Naoyoshi Shiotani. The next one after The Smuggler is by Polygon Pictures with The Bird of Paradise. And it says, after she is blinded in battle, a hot-headed Jedi Padawan must undergo a series of spiritual rituals in order to overcome the temptation of the dark side. And this is directed by Tadahiro, aka Tadi Yoshihira.
Yeah. The biggest name that you should know from here is, of course, George Takei, from, of course, Star Trek. I feel like Victoria Grace.
I don't know.
George Takei is from Star Trek. I feel like Victoria Grace is somebody I should know. It sounds familiar, but I'm not entirely sure. But the last episode, it says here. Now, I say last episode, but I'm not entirely sure if this is 100% the listing per episode, in order, right?
Yeah.
So the last one here is called David Production. It is called Black. A psychedelic battle between past and present, light and dark, and life and death plays out in the haunted psyche of an Imperial trooper who is on his cusp of defeat. Directed by Shinya Ohira. And there is no English voice cast. Now, I take this to be one or two things. One, StarWars.com just forgot to place it on there. Or two, the psychedelic battle is supposed to be a silent film. I think it is actually supposed to be a silent film, and the Japanese version may have a little bit of narration towards it, is all I think.
Yeah, I think that makes sense as well. It'll be interesting to see. Guys, Visions Volume 3 is out October 29th. On that day, because that is a Wednesday, guys, on that day we will have kind of a brief review of the entire thing with favorites and stuff, but all of November we will be going through the episodes brick by brick.
Yeah.
We will tie the 3 sequels into one episode, and then the other 2 episodes of November will be focused on the other 6, broken down into 3 apiece. So just so you guys know what to expect, because obviously, if it comes out on Wednesday, we're waking up early to watch it. We're not going to have a whole lot of thoughts.
And that is something that we have thought about as well and discussed. We have no idea if this is going to be a, 8 o'clock release or whatever, like the other shows have been. Recently, as far as Disney Plus goes, we have, of course, had weekly releases. I don't believe that's what they're going to do with this. That's not what they have done in the past. I think that it is a case of, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I believe this will be another 2 a.m. drop, and we will have to watch these throughout the day. And, of course, come in at, of course, our regular time of 7 p.m. and just do an overall discussion.
Yep.
So with that is it for the news and all of that jazz. We are going into our main topic of the night, of course, being Revenge of the Sith, the novelization review. Now, Katie, at the beginning of this podcast, I asked you a question. I said, what is a novelization supposed to be? Can you tell me in your own words what you believe a novelization is supposed to be?
So, guys, to me, a novelization means it's basically an adaptation of a movie. We see a lot of book to movie adaptations, and book to movie adaptations always take liberties with what's given to them and go, okay, let's change this. Oh, but let's change this. So I feel like to set scenes in a book, you have to approach it differently than how a movie might do it, because a movie can provide a lot of visual stimulation to get how the characters come to a certain point. Whereas in a book, you need to include more detail because you aren't seeing that kind of stuff on screen. So to me, a novelization is simply an adaptation. And an adaptation can take liberties.
Yeah. No, I get that. When I was listening, because I have not read many adaptations. This is the first Star Wars novel that I have read that is an adaptation. Everything that we have read has been an original story within canon. We have not read, like, the Phantom Menace novelization or any in all of that. This is the first one that we've read. In my mind, what it is supposed to do is, of course, tell the story that was told already on film and give context in some scenarios. I do know that, because I saw it recently, I think literally today, because there was some promotion being done for the 20th anniversary deluxe edition of this. Well, actually, I don't know if this is the 20th anniversary, but the deluxe edition of the novelization coming out this year. There was a quote from George Lucas that basically told the author, "Hey, as long as you don't mess up the original story, you can do whatever you want." Was basically his one rule. There are moments on my first listen, because again, I listened to the audiobook on this. On my second read, I did borrow the digital book from my local library on Libby. And so while I was listening, I was actually like reading it as well. On my first listen, Katie, there was some of the additional context that was added to this book that I felt, quote unquote, ruined the surprise of what was on film. But on my second listen, I'm like, wait a second, if I'm reading this, I'm not also watching it. Or I'm not intended to immediately go watch the film. Instead, what I'm really supposed to be doing is I'm supposed to be watching the film and then reading the book. So I was taking it in perspective of literally, like, picturing the movie in my head and then, like, taking those additional scenes to see where they fit and if they fit correctly. So the very first, like, real additional scene that I could really point out was, there's a scene in the very beginning of this book that is with Count Dooku and Palpatine. And Dooku is getting all giddy because it's like, oh, I get to, like, sit back and semi-retire after this. We're gonna, finally be, on the road to recovery in this galactic war and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. And in my mind, I was thinking, of course, of the movie. And so I'm like, well, this kind of ruins the surprise of the reveal of Palpatine later down the line. That was why I kind of had my hot take, because I was like, oh, this doesn't really fit, because, like, the big reveal is the fact that Palpatine is the Sith Lord Sidious. So,
that's
like,
fair.
There was that feeling to it. I still liked this. I still liked a lot of being able to have that, thought process of Dooku through that fight. I really did. I did enjoy that. I finally got the context of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
we have it was, I believe, a certain point of view that we
Yep.
last. What was the last one? Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
That one had a reference to the dragon. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know what this is, but that's kind of cool. It is literally a reference to this story. It is the reference of the dragon that is inside Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
I dug that story. I like the idea of Anakin at one moment in his Jedi career in his lifetime, literally seeing a dead sky or a dead star, and like contemplating life after that. Like, that is so cool. I really dig those moments.
So I can give you fair points on Palpatine being revealed kind of at the beginning, because that really is the first time that Palpatine is utterly confirmed as Sidious, because this book actually came out 5 months, or not 5 months, a month before the movie actually came out.
What?
It really was like the first time. Yeah.
Oh, I would have been pissed.
This came out April 2nd, 2005. And Revenge of the Sith movie itself came out May 16th, 2005.
Now, granted, guys, I say this well in advance knowing that Palpatine is in fact Sidious, guys. Like, this is not my first time, and even when I watched Revenge of the Sith, I knew that Palpatine was Sidious. Like, it was not a surprise to me whatsoever. But there's people out there that were surprised. There's kids that, like, the prequel trilogy was like their first form of Star Wars, and then like they were right there when it was announced to Mace Windu and the other Jedi Masters. There's kids in that theater being like, "Oh my god!" You know, like.
Yep.
Well, actually, it would have been before that with Anakin, but still, you get the point, and that's kind of like, and that's why I felt like there's some things here that go a little above and beyond that freedom of liberty that they are having to be able to kind of just mess with things. But again, he was giving full reign to, as long as you don't mess up the core story, you could do whatever you want. And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
They did nothing to the core story of Revenge of the Sith.
They really didn't. Matthew Stover had the script of Revenge of the Sith, so you have all of like the Rebel Alliance founding meetings are in this book. You have, like, originally in the movie, Palpatine was supposed to like make Obi-Wan and Padme look like they were having an affair. That's why you get that scene where...
And see, I didn't know that. So, while I was reading this book, guys, there's a ton of deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith. Like, we've talked about it before. Mon Mothma.
Yep. Genevieve O'Reilly.
Genevieve. She had a deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith. There are moments in this book that do give a little bit more context as to why the Rebel Alliance didn't birth literally right then and there. There's specific wording that is given to Padme that I really did enjoy. I'm like, oh, this makes sense now. This kind of like shows how there is that slow burn for Mon Mothma, for Bail. I like the reasoning behind that. Now, I will say this. If this was an actual scene in Revenge of the Sith script and it did not make it on screen, and it didn't, I'm actually really pissed off if it actually was in the script. There is a moment where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda pretend to be a hunchback and a baby. And they talk to a clone, and they're like, "Oh, well, how do I know that's a baby?" And Yoda's like, "Oh, I guess this lightsaber will tell you." And then he starts killing people. Like, it was the cheesiest thing I have ever seen in a Star Wars book, and I'm actually really mad that it didn't make it on screen.
I don't think that would have been a scene in the script.
Well, because again, when
It's
you
so funny though.
it's super funny, and the tone completely shifts for that one moment. And I think ultimately, if it was an actual scene in the script, that's why it had to be cut, because it completely twists. When you watch Revenge of the Sith, all of the quote unquote funny moments are literally before the fight with Dooku. The moment Dooku's head gets completely chopped off, there is no funny moments in that movie. Now,
Yep.
you can, like, we as a phenomenon of a fandom have made memes about, hello there, and the entire for my empire speech at the very end. Like, we as the internet have memed about that. We have made that funny. But the context of the movie, there is no humorous moments after Dooku's head is sliced.
Yep.
And so that's why, like, when I first, because again, listening in audiobook, the narrator had to do it in Yoda's voice and all this other stuff. It was absolutely hilarious. I had to actually rewind the audiobook and make sure that actually happened, because I was like, there's no way this is actually in Star Wars. But yeah, I think that this book did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was an adaptation. Getting the actual, like, somewhat definition here. A novelization is an adaptation of a story from another medium, most commonly a film, TV series, comic, or video game. So, yeah, there is special liberties with that. I really loved the opening of, like, making Obi-Wan and Anakin, like, larger than life heroes of the galaxy.
Yeah, I feel like this is very, like, soap opera-esque, very Shakespeare. You're set up into a way where you could basically put this on screen and go, okay, this story has given you the basis to put it on screen without ever having to see Revenge of the Sith, basically.
Yeah.
And I, like, so this novelization was my second Star Wars book. I read Children of the Jedi first, but then Children of the Jedi is how I fell in love with Star Wars. And so then it was just about to be where Revenge of the Sith was coming out. And so my mom and dad went to go see Revenge of the Sith to basically screen it and see if it was appropriate for me to go see. And they decided it was too violent. And so my mom bought the novelization and read it to us. And she still filtered out the mega violent parts. Like, she literally had Post-it notes over sections where she had annotated, hey, say this instead of this page, basically, because the page was too violent. And so, like, I fell in love with the novelization even with those eliminations taking place. Like, I didn't remember the Hunchback scene with Obi-Wan carrying Baby Yoda. Like, I didn't remember that at all. Like, I imagine my mom took that out because it was killing people. Like, this novelization is just, it expands the story so much and allows you to see what probably, because George Lucas had stared at the script over and over again, and he probably didn't take any critiques on it, really. I mean, like, the dude knew what he wanted. And so he probably looked at it and saw, okay, I understand what's happening. But realistically, he probably needed somebody else to come in and say, hey, I don't understand what's happening. to really edit the story and go, okay, we need to build up to everything in A New Hope properly. So let's include this, let's include that. And so this novelization takes that and runs with it. Like, I love that George Lucas was like, hey, yeah, go for it. Like, and apparently George Lucas literally took the book and gave it a line edit. Like, and said, hey, instead of this word, use this word. Like, that's how much he edited this novelization. To get it down to what he still wanted it to look like compared to the movie. Is there liberties taken with this? Yes. But this is one of the best novelizations I've ever read. This is truly the best adaptation given to a story, whether it's Star Wars or not. Like, I am not a Lord of the Rings fan. The movies for Lord of the Rings are better than the book. Like, that's how much I can't stand Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
I know, that's a hot take.
That's a hot take. Granted, I have not mustered the strength to purchase the Lord of the Rings books, The Hobbit and all of that, because they are so, like, overwhelming. Like, I look at those books and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
I'm not including The Hobbit in that, by the way. The Lord of the Rings movies themselves. The Hobbit movies, garbage. Lord of the Rings movies, good. Better than the book. This book is better than the movie in and of itself. Like, leaps and bounds. And don't get me wrong, I greatly appreciate George Lucas for bringing us the movies so that other people could play in this universe. Because I think other people needed to play in this universe in order to make the series work as what it is today. Let's be real. If it wasn't for other people playing in the sandbox, Disney would have never bought Star Wars. We would never have more Star Wars movies. It would just be the 6.
There was some things in this book that I think were great additions to context. And how they both work via in the novelization versus in the movie. The biggest example of this is the addition of Qui-Gon Jinn at the end of the book. We know that in the movie, at the very end, when Yoda and Bail and Obi-Wan are all talking about what their next move is, how do we go into hiding, what's next for the children, all of that, Yoda says, hey, before you go, a mission I have for you, given to me by your old master. And he's like, Qui-Gon? And then it moves scenes. It's like a really big, it's like a really, like, reveal, right? So I like how that happens. I also like how in this book, we get the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn actually talking to Yoda.
Yep.
In a portion where everything has kind of simmered down a bit, Yoda's on his own, and then Qui-Gon Jinn reaches out to Yoda. I like how it happened organically. They didn't kind of force it or shoehorn it in there. It happened really at the perfect spot where you're not like, oh, well, is this really a place where Qui-Gon Jinn would have talked to Yoda and all of that? There's no need to have that conversation. It just works. Yep. There is also, I'm trying to think, what other stuff was in there? The additional Jedi that Anakin killed, that Darth Vader killed. I have one complaint about this. The destruction of the Jedi Temple and everything else is fine. Now, I believe it is when they're on Mustafar and Anakin is slaughtering the Separatists. Okay. I can't remember who it was, but they are like pleading to Darth Vader, like, oh, you know, we were promised, like, all this stuff, we were going to be rewarded handsomely. And Darth Vader says, oh, you don't believe I'm handsome? And then, like, kills him. Like,
I laughed so hard.
I don't really think that fits well. Like, that is an Anakin thing to say, not necessarily something that I would believe Darth Vader to say. You know?
Well, and that's, I think, it is very clear, I feel like, that the Separatist slaughter on Mustafar basically kind of converts Anakin fully into the Darth persona. I feel like Anakin is still shining through at some points. In what we get with Order 66, the Palpatine conversation, and then Padme.
That's true.
I feel like Anakin still shows through there. I feel like Darth Vader takes over after the Separatist thing, because Anakin goes, wait, but do you see what I can do? And then figures out, like, oh, like, I'll kill Palpatine after I get the secret to eternal life. I'll take over the galaxy. Padme will rule. I will be her prince, kind of thing. Like, he gets all of that in his head.
I think that is supposed to be, like legitimately what happens, because if you remember in the movie, after the slaughter, we get that really close-up of Anakin's face, and his eyes finally, like, his eye color changes and everything else. It's supposed to resemble that Anakin is no longer there. So I think that does work perfectly, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like Anakin as a fighter is definitely quippy. And I mean, we still even get that with Darth Vader in Rebels, in like the comics and stuff, where Darth Vader still quips. And so in that case, like, it's still there.
That is true. There was that one quip that we both were like, oh, that was really cool. In Bad Batch Sanctuary at the very end of that book.
Yep.
So I get that. I still think what annoys me most, and this annoys me, like, even in the actual movie, is the lack of conversation with Anakin Skywalker in the Council. I think that is still something that was, like, you still got more context over it, for sure. Like, yeah. I think that's one of the most frustrating things, is if you watch Revenge of the Sith, you don't really know why. Like, you can kind of, like, say, like, oh, okay, they want him to do this, they don't want, you know, him to know too much, blah, blah, blah. You get every juicy detail of what the Council is talking about. And it's still, like, there's a moment where Yoda, in the conversations of, like, hey, we're gonna take down Palpatine today, we're gonna do it right now. And Yoda's like, what about Anakin? And I'm like, thank you, somebody finally wants to bring him in. And Mace Windu's like, nah, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, god damn it, dude. Like, you're right there. You're right there.
You have no trust in him because you're worried about him potentially turning. But if you had trust in him, he might not have turned. You can't say he wouldn't have turned, but his frustration with the Jedi Council is that they have no trust.
Yeah.
And so if they had given more trust, that could have done a lot of good things for the Jedi Order. Obviously, not an overall critique of the novelization and the context, because Matthew had no choice on that.
Yeah, and I'm stating it, like, the consistency with that still works. And also, like, for all of you who are still mad at the concept, it's still here in this novelization, you know? So nothing there changes. And I liked I will say this, I did put one note, and I did already reiterate this, but these were my exact thoughts after reading the chapter. It was chapter 2 is when the reveal of Palpatine with Dooku, and I literally wrote, I think going into too much detail, having the discussion of Dooku and Palpatine about their plans, of course, to ultimately fail to show that Palpatine always has plans for his own partially ruins the reveal the way it's supposed to happen organically. Was my initial thought.
I do also feel that Sidious as Palpatine is not the big part of the story here, though. Like, and that's just my opinion. If that's like a big part of your opinion with this, then that's fine. Yeah. I've never considered Sidious being Palpatine to be a big part of it. I also felt like it made Palpatine's betrayal of Dooku all the more poignant, because Dooku doesn't realize that, hey, I'm actually going to die here so that Anakin can take over as Padawan. Like, reading Dooku's thoughts that Stover puts into this as he's waiting to die by Anakin's hand, he realizes, like, you see that on, oh my gosh, I can't remember the actor's face.
Christopher Lee.
You see that on Christopher Lee's face, like that look of betrayal, but putting those thoughts out into the universe that Stover does, like, it's insane that he realizes, hey, I was never supposed to make it out of this alive. Like, and that just makes Anakin's fall to the dark side all the more dangerous.
Well, like, and it does play into, like, all of those details play into further into the book, because I don't believe, I can't remember exactly, but I don't believe Mace Windu brings it up in the movie, but in here in the novelization, he tells Anakin, like, while he's facing off against Palpatine, he does say, hey, you killed Dooku, and you felt that it was necessary. Don't you believe that I should feel like this is necessary as well? Like, they play on that, and I do like that portion of it. And you're right, I do like, there was a moment where, in the beginning of the book, like, Dooku is talking to both Obi-Wan and Anakin, and they say something about Palpatine, and, like, he literally says, oh, I had such an urge to wink at Palpatine, but decided not to. And I'm like, okay, playing coy with it, I do like that a little bit. But yeah, I still like all of the, like, intense details that they give to the things that we did see in the movie. The firefight with the ships at the very beginning. One thing that I'm still not entirely sure if I'd necessarily like is every major character in this book gets, like, a small little, like, monologue, like, hey, this is who I am, type of, like, paragraph in the book. I don't know if I necessarily love that. Like, there's a moment where, like, in the very beginning where Obi was like, oh, this is Obi-Wan. He, this is how he fights. This is how he is towards Anakin, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to Anakin, and it goes to Padme, it goes to Dooku, and things like that.
I feel like that also meant to, like, lean into the soap opera-esque feel of it, because it's, like, your introduction to the character, like, and again, thinking back to how George Lucas initially meant this, like, he really didn't, he intended it for it to be like, okay, hey, you jump into an episode of Saturday cartoons, so you do kind of need that introduction in the
very that. It's very theater-esque. Yeah
I enjoy those points because I feel like that has been some of, like, the biggest quotes out of this book is those elements. This is Obi-Wan, like, on the deluxe edition, this is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker forever. Like, he's leaning into the emotional details of the character and giving you that insight without taking away from the plot of the story. It's like a snippet. It's very much like a TV show where, like, you're slowing down kind of aspect, and it's like the lightsabers coming in, and you go, this is Anakin Skywalker. He does this.
I could see that.
X, Y, Z. Like, that's how I have always pictured it. I love those elements.
One thing that I did like, in that same kind of vein, is because in the most recent books that we have been reading, and I will be zeroing in on C-3PO for a particular review that we're actually going to be putting on Patreon, by the way, guys. If you are unaware, we are reviewing the New Jedi Order books on Patreon. If you want to go listen to those, only $5 for our Patreon. Go visit it. Go check it out. But in here, I do like that C-3PO is more than just the side character.
Yep.
He plays a specific role, and although he is kind of like this silly in the movies, this silly kind of comedic relief, kind of like, hey, let's kind of ease the tension here type of character, he was able to play off of like the scenes that he was involved in. So like with the whole entire like, oh, the Jedi coup, and you know the Order is being destroyed and all this other thing. Oh, Obi-Wan is here. I should probably call somebody. Oh wait, Padme is actually acting pretty chill with him, so maybe I should just step back a little bit. Like, I like those moments because, again, just like those little, hey, let's slow down a bit moments, C-3PO is actually being used for that moment, and you get to see a scene from their point of view looking into Padme and Obi-Wan, right? So I do like that. It still wows me. It didn't even dawn on me until you said it, that they were supposed to like be having an affair, which I think now is like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. That's why it was written like that. Just the way that Bale was like, oh, you already know her name, you know who it is. So yeah, I overall I will say, my hot take isn't so hot anymore. I think it is understandable. But like you said, the reveal of Palpatine is not the main takeaway of this book. It is literally all the meat and potatoes of this book is what is supposed to be taken when reading this. Because again, you're supposed to, in my mind, this is not how everybody's supposed to do it, because anybody can do whatever they want. But in my mind, you watch the movie, then you read the adaptation. So like you get all the little small context to the big major parts. Like there was the Commander Cody one. The Order 66 announcements, like, oh, did you have to give it to me now? And you know, not like, why'd you have to wait until I gave him the lightsaber? Like, because again, there's like this small like inkling that they're still inside there, you know, rather than just like the immediate turn to Order 66. I do like that.
Yeah, I love the Cody moment, because you always felt like apparently I just kicked Matt off his Xbox because I told him, hey, I'm having issues with my internet. Oops. Sorry, Matt, we're finishing up. Yeah, I love that moment with Commander Cody, because I always felt like that needed to be in there, because he goes like, oh, hey, you're missing something, and like hands it back to him, and then like seconds later, Order 66. Oh crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And I think even
oh, you cut out. Say that again.
It's trying.
Okay. I am marking this down as something that I need to edit, but go ahead and say that again.
I feel like getting that snippet in the novelization also makes the Bad Batch with Cody at the end like even more special, just as he like as he like recognizes, hey, this is what happened, like kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. That and that's something that I think a lot of people need to consider as well, that like because this is still canon, it puts so much weight on other portions of the timeline.
So this is actually not canon. It's still considered a part of Legends.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm going to be putting it on my canon shelf just because it's a hardcover and I don't have any other Legends hardcover books. But it's not technically canon.
Despicable. I actually like this enough to say that it's canon. Why is it not canon?
Because that's what Disney has chosen to do.
That's so dumb. Now, because again, like, you also add Ventress in here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something that we had no idea about at the time of this release.
Because Stover pulls in stuff from the comics, he pulls in stuff from all of like the other Legends items. So yeah, we can headcanon the shit out of anything. It can be canon.
That is true. That is true. And
especially with the other novelizations on my shelves.
I was gonna say my Star Wars collection is not as intensive as yours, so all of my books are literally all together. The only thing that is separate is my mass market New Jedi Order books. So those are separate on my shelf, but all of my Star Wars books are together. So, yeah.
I separated it up so we have High Republic and prequels over here, and then oh no, it's not going to turn. So then over here we have Empire time period, and then we have movie time period on a second shelf, and then we have post original trilogy into sequel trilogy. So basically I have three shelves on a shelf dedicated to Star Wars books, and then I put stuff around it.
Works great for me. I think that works perfectly, actually. There's 3 different trilogies, 3 different shelves. I think that works perfect. Yeah. But is there anything else that you wanted to add for the review? Any insights or anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, we know the plot of this. I think we've talked about a lot of the highlights of this novelization. Truly, this one is super special. I'm so happy that there's a deluxe edition. Again, Random House Worlds, you always just know what to come up with to make fans super happy. So thank you. And again, guys, make sure you go check out the deluxe edition. I believe it's listed for $60 at most retailers. But to me, as a collector of Star Wars books, it's worth getting this special edition. And there's a lot more feature to this special edition compared to some of the other special editions we're seeing out nowadays. So
yeah, I'm literally looking at all of the different covers for this. There was CDs of this. There was book on tape CDs. There is actually a Romanian movie, like the actual movie poster had their cover with this, which I am actually really jealous of. And then, of course, at the very bottom, it does show, of course, the 20th anniversary cover. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this. I'm just gonna have to double down that I am so mad now that Yoda acting like a baby is not canon, and that should immediately be fixed. Because just how you reiterated earlier in the actual review, you were stating down here on the Wikipedia, it does state that was rebranded in 2014 as Legends under the classification C canon. Have no idea what that means. But
I don't know what that means either.
Well, I'm gonna have to do some research on that then. But Yeah, I just think that life would be better knowing that Yoda had pretended to be a baby to get inside the Jedi Temple, and that should be canon. But with that, guys, thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate it every single time. Of course, we do have ways to reach out to us. If you check out Instagram, Blue Sky, or Threads, we are on there, like always. We have been posting more. We are literally planning out content, which I absolutely love. And I will tell you this, unfortunately, just due to the fact that we are, just with the announcement today with, Microsoft and Xbox upping subscription prices, everything is getting more expensive, guys. I am finding an alternative for the hotline. But for now, it is still live, but that number will be going away. We are going to find an alternative. My wife, Abby, has literally just talked to me today about how there is something like this already implemented onto the internet that might be a little bit easier for you guys rather than actually texting and giving out your phone numbers and stuff. So for now, the hotline is 830-538-4828. You could text or leave us a message. Again, there is going to be an alternative to that very soon. But of course, you can always leave us a message on Instagram, on Blue Sky, or on Threads, as well as our Gmail account at StarWarsAlliance@gmail.com. Same with the username Star Wars Alliance. No A in the wars. Very important. Don't forget it. You can always find me at Fanboy Clay on all three of those platforms. Katie, what about you?
Y'all, you can find me on most social media platforms. It is at Slice of Katie. Yeah, if I'm there, you'll see me. And if not, I'll get back to you at some point or another. So with that, guys, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you are listening or watching. And we will see y'all next time. May the force be with you.